You think you can save them. That's the first lie. You see them breaking, and you think, not on my watch. You convince yourself that if you just love them enough, fight for them hard enough, they'll change. And maybe they will, for a week, a month, long enough for you to think you were right. Then, one day, you wake up and realize nothing's changed, except you're more tired, more broke, and more tangled in their mess than you ever meant to be. That's the second lie, thinking their change is in your hands. It's not. It never was. I know, because I've spent years chasing that mistake across alleyways, courtrooms, and my own damn heart. I've seen it in addicts, liars, thieves, and in people I would have taken a bullet for. Some I met on the job, some I met because I couldn't stay away. One of them was the woman I loved. The first time I really learned the lesson, it was from a kid named Milo. 16 years old, already looking over his shoulder like a man twice his age. He was running packages for a man who treated him like inventory. I saw potential in him, quick mind, sharp instincts, and I thought I could pull him out. I got him into a program, made sure he had food, gave him things to do that didn't involve risking his life. For a while, it looked like it was working. But here's the part one didn't want to admit back then. Milo wasn't doing any of it for himself. He was doing it for me, showing up because I showed up, smiling because I expected him to. That's the problem with external motivation. The moment you leave, so does the effort. His whole identity was fused to that street corner. Psychologists call it identity fusion, when your sense of self and your role in a group are so tangled, leaving one feels like killing the other. Pull someone out before they've built a new identity, and they'll go right back to the old one. 8 weeks later, I found him in the same spot, same look in his eyes, like nothing in between had happened. That night, I sat in my car for hours, engine off, staring at the streetlight bleeding into the windshield. The truth sank in heavy. You can't just hand someone a rope, they have to believe they belong on the other side of it. Until then, you're just playing tug-of-war with their life, and sooner or later, they'll let go. Once you see that pattern, it's hard not to see it everywhere. I saw it in Ray, a man in his 30s who could hold down a construction job when the bottle didn't get there first. His sister called me when he went missing. I found him in a dim bar, hunched over his drink like it was the last source of heat in his life. He promised me he'd try to get clean, said it like he meant it. But here's the truth about addiction, it's almost never about the substance. It's about what the substance gives you. For Ray, it was silence, a break from the noise in his head. Take that away without giving him something else to quiet that noise, and you're just leaving him alone with it. That's negative reinforcement. People are more driven to avoid pain than to chase pleasure, so when the pain comes back, so does the old habit. I could have dragged him home 100 times, but the moment I stopped, he'd be back in that bar. Because you can't outwork someone's need for relief. You can't fill the gaps in their coping with your own effort. They have to build something new, something better than the old poison, and that part's theirs alone. The day you stop, they'll show you exactly how much of it was ever really there. And sometimes, the world delivers the lesson for you. That's what happened with Jordan. I crossed paths with him more times than I could count. Pickpocket, smooth talker, hands like smoke. Clever, but getting sloppy. One night, he lifted from the wrong man, the kind who doesn't dial 911, just digs a hole. I got him clear that time, but told him it was his last get out of jail card. This time, I didn't run interference, neither did anyone else. He ran out of people willing to clean up after him, and when the mess came knocking, he had to answer. That's natural consequences in action. Change doesn't always come from inspiration. Sometimes, it comes from slamming into a wall so hard you've got no choice but to find another route. Jordan started paying people back, got a job, kept his head down. When I asked him why, he said, I ran out of people to lie to. That's accountability, and you can't hand it to someone like a gift. They only get it when there's no one left to take the fall for them. Until then, they'll keep rehearsing the same old excuses because someone's always willing to believe them. But if I'm honest, the case that left the deepest mark wasn't a case at all. It was Elena. If you've ever tried to love someone who's running toward a cliff, you know the kind of helplessness I'm talking about. She was brilliant, magnetic, and carried her scars like they were part of her beauty, the kind of woman who could draw every eye in the room and never let any of them too close. She was tied to people who lived by rules written in blood. I told myself I could pull her clear, that my love could outweigh whatever kept her in that world. That's the kind of lie you tell yourself when you need to believe you matter more than the life they've chosen. What I didn't see, or didn't want to see, was that Elena wasn't waiting for rescue. She was steering her own course, even if it was into a storm. And here's the truth about trying to fix someone: a lot of the time, it's not about them. It's about you, avoiding your own reflection. I threw myself into saving her because it was easier than facing what was broken in me. As long as her fire was burning out of control, I didn't have to look at my own embers. When she finally left, no fight, no goodbye, just gone, it felt like someone had pulled all the air out of the room. I'd built my days around her story, forgetting she was the one holding the pen. That's locus of control. She was always steering, whether I liked the direction or not. The hardest part was accepting that you can't love someone into becoming who you think they should be. They'll become who they choose, in their time, in their way, and sometimes that way doesn't include you. And after enough of these, you start to notice how much of the world runs on the same wiring. People stay in jobs that grind them down because at least the paycheck is predictable. They cling to habits that are killing them because they're easier than the uncertainty of quitting. That's status quo bias. The mind will choose familiar misery over unfamiliar possibility almost every time. You can hear it in the way people talk about change, all the reasons they can't yet, all the conditions that have to be met before they start. And even when they do change, sometimes it's just for you. That's compliance, not transformation. Compliance depends on your presence, transformation depends on their decision. The second you're not watching, compliance fades, transformation doesn't. If they can only hold the line when you're there, it's not real change, it's a performance, and every performance ends. I used to think saving people was my job. After my sister disappeared, I made it my mission. Told myself that if I could save enough people, maybe the universe would balance the books. That's magical thinking. The ledger doesn't work like that. All that happens is you burn yourself out, carrying people who never asked to be carried. And while you're doing that, your own life starts to bleed out from neglect. The truth is, lasting change only happens when someone shifts from thinking life happens to them to believing life happens because of them. That's the move from an external locus of control to an internal one, and you can't make that leap for someone. You can point to it, you can model it, you can hope for it, but the decision is always theirs. So no, you can't fix someone. You can be there when they're ready to fix themselves. You can speak the truth they don't want to hear. You can hold the rope without letting it pull you under. You can make it clear you will walk beside them, but not for them. And when you've done that, you go back to your own life. Because if you lose yourself trying to save someone else, you're just adding one more name to the list of people who need saving. And if you're still wondering if you can fix someone, you already have your answer. You can't. But you can lose yourself trying. And when you've been around as long as I have, you realize some people aren't looking for a lifeline. They're looking for someone to drown with.